Hey guys, welcome back to another electrical training video. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Ohm's Law. Now Ohm's Law, if you don't know, is the mathematical calculation to figure out what voltage is, what amps are, what the resistance might be if you didn't know one or the other. So what I'm going to do is I want to begin by showing you guys what the Ohm's Law triangle looks like. It's going to look something like this. This A may be changed out with an I. If you notice here on the circle, it is the I, and the reason I have the circle and the triangle up here is just to show you guys that they are the exact same thing. There are some different variations of this that we're going to go over at the end of this module when we get into talking about watts, but for right now, I really just want to keep it simple and talk about volts over IR. So let's go ahead and let's talk about a little bit of terminology that we're going to be using when we get into our math calculations. Those are V equals volts, A equals amps, R equals resistance, E equals EMF or voltage. Remember we talked about that a little bit earlier. And then I stands for intensity or amps. So that's why we're going to see sometimes that the A will be translated out for an I, okay? So a couple things I want to point out is just that the V will always be on the top. So volts will always be on the top when we use this particular Ohm's Law triangle. The R and the I will always be on the bottom. We're going to get into this in just a second that the V will always be divided by either the R or the I or the A. I'm sorry, let me go ahead and place that with an I right now, since I'm going to keep messing it up. So no matter what, the V will always be divided by the I to find the R, or the V will always be divided by the R to find the I, or the I will be multiplied by the R to find the V. I know it's a little bit complicated sounding. Let's go ahead and I'm going to draw up a circuit and let's go ahead and talk about that some more. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep my math calculations pretty simple so that I don't have to think too much while I'm trying to talk. So what I want to do is I'm going to just draw the Ohm's Law triangle up here, because I think that we can all see that still. Yeah, okay. So what I always do is I always draw the line across and pretend that that's a division bar. So when I go ahead and put my V, no matter what, V is going to be divided by whatever is on the bottom. And then I usually just draw a dot here for my multiplication. So no matter what, if I don't have my V, I'm going to do my multiplication across. I don't know if that'll help you guys, but that is one of the tricks that I use when I'm doing this stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our circuit, and I'm just going to draw it like this, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do an AC power source really fast, and I'm just going to do a very simple circuit that only has a resistor in it, okay? Oh, that's a rough looking resistor. Remember, resistance is measured in ohmegas, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put 6 ohms right here. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a 24 volt system, okay? So now I need to figure out how many amps are in this circuit. So if I go up to my Ohm's Law triangle, I can see that I don't have my I. So I'm going to immediately see that I have my V and I have my resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the voltage by the resistance, and that's going to give me my I. So 24 divided by 6 will equal 4. So I know that I have 4 amps moving through this particular circuit. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do one more like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start switching it up a little bit. So let's say I have 12 volts and I have 3 ohms of resistance in my resistor here. So that would, to figure out how many amps I have, again, I'm going to divide 12 by my 3 to figure out that I have 4 amps moving through this wire. That's pretty cool, right? So again, this will work in multiple directions. So if I don't have the V and I wanted to find that, I could take my, let's go ahead and I'll get rid of some of these numbers. I could go ahead and say I had 5 amps here, 5 amps, and I had let's say 3 ohms of resistance. I could multiply R times I to figure out how many volts I have. So 5 times 3 will equal 15 volts. So I would have 15 volts in that circuit. Now the same could be said if I was going to go ahead and try to find the resistance. If I knew how many amps were in that circuit, I could figure out what my resistance was. So let's go ahead and I'll get rid of my resistance, and let's go ahead and say we'll do like 4 here. Let's do some funky numbers of voltage. So we'll do like 16. 16 is an easy one for me. So again, I know what my V is. I know what my I is going to be. So it's going to be 4. So it's going to be 16 divided by 4 will equal how much resistance I have, which will be 4 ohms of resistance. Again, if we wanted to change this out to be, I don't know, let's say 25, and we were going to do 5 amps, we do 25 divided by 5 will equal 5 ohms of resistance. Sorry, that was a bad 5. Pretty cool, huh? So if I had 120 volts, now we're getting into some hard math here, and I had 10 amps going through my circuit, that would mean that my resistor was at 12 ohms, had 12 ohms of resistance. Now again, like I said, they can be moved around depending on which variable you're missing. You can kind of figure it out. You can, every time if you'd like, you could redraw your Ohm's law triangle and just insert what numbers you have, okay? So you could, if we had our division bar, we had our multiplication, and let's say I had this circuit, and I knew that I had 120 volts right here, and I knew that I had 10 amps. I could honestly see that I was missing this variable right here. So what I could do is I could take 120 and I could divide it by 10 to equal that 12 ohms of resistance. So I hope this helps you guys out. If you guys need any help or want to talk about this a little bit more, like I said, what we're going to do next is we're going to move on to our series circuits. And really, they're just a little increment more difficult, not very much. So hopefully you guys get this. Make sure to do all the practice problems and really try to understand it.